Hello all and welcome back. I've ridden over to Ipswich, an hour and a quarter away from Belvedere. Feels great to be back. To confirm, I am on the Transalp. Don't know if you can see that. Apologies, I may blur that out. I almost tripped over a dead badger. I am here for a specific reason. Number one, I'm off for a ride with Danny. I think he'll bring his KTM 1290 Adventure. So I head off for a little ride on those. And then Danny's very kindly let me borrow, or agreed to let me borrow, his Royal Enfield Bullet 500. And the reason I'm borrowing that bike is because we're doing the photo shoots for the Libertatia tool roll. So we've rented out a cabin in the woods in Essex. I've got Danny's Royal Enfield Classic 500. Monika's mum will be coming over and we'll have just a nice little celebration weekend. Celebrate the fact batch one is pretty much complete. Get some nice photos to show off the products. And I'll take you along with me today. I have no idea which bits of the day I'll film, but I'll try and do little pieces for as much as possible. So come along with me. The weather's holding out. I am early to see Danny, which is a nice surprise. So no pressure at all. I'll enjoy a bit of the Essex countryside, a bit of the Suffolk countryside. Danny, welcome back to the channel.
Hello.
This is just a nice opportunity because we're going for a ride. Big adventure bike versus mid-sized adventure bike. First off, being a big adventure bike owner, what are your thoughts on the Transalp?
I love it. I love the look of it. It's, I think we said earlier when we were having a coffee today, it's got some sort of Dakar vibes, sort of in that design. I think it, you know, it's kind of the closest thing to kind of starting to get retro in this adventure bike segment. So I think looks-wise it's great. Sound-wise, I can't believe the exhaust note. Like it's absolutely awesome, and slightly devastated given how much I spent on my Acropovich at the stock exhaust.
Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird how good
Yeah.
the exhaust sounds on this as standard?
Yeah.
Okay, yours is half a litre bigger than this.
And some, yeah. So, this is nigh on 1300.
So it's a gigantic size bigger.
yeah.
Yes, this costs more. What's this standard? Without all the odd added extras.
Stock is 17.
17k.
Yeah.
This is 9.7k, so you have to spend an extra 7,000 on that. Of course, you get the bigger engine.
Yeah.
In your eyes, looking at the build quality, looking at what you get, can you see where the extra money's been spent on the KTM compared to this?
Yes, you can. I think you start to see some of the build quality elements, some of the stuff I think more sort of stock options and living with the bike, and it sounds a little bit, you can't place £7,000 of value on any one feature, but the sum of the kind of how it's designed, the way the bike rides, the way the bike feels, how you can make it work in terms of day-to-day living with features, customizing all the electronic suspension, customizing the throttle response and the traction control, all of that kind of gadgetry to get it exactly how you want it to be is we're just getting I think we're blocking their view.
Everyone wants to see this view. We're right in one of the best views of the area. I feel almost selfish.
So I think all of those all of those features together make for a much more sort of customizable, tailored option, I think. And then not forgetting that engine's a hell of an engine, obviously, and that motor in that they use across that range and in the Super Dukes and whatever. I think they call it the LC8.
Phenomenal.
Is a proper weapon. And,
I mean, you're used to these big engines now.
Yeah.
If you were ever to consider another adventure bike, looking at this, is there enough here to make you think, you know what, I could get away with a mid-size adventure bike? Or are you just so sold on the big adventure bikes now? They're so phenomenal as bikes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think that, especially on the sort of longer tours and things and bits and pieces, like my mate Andy did the trip to Normandy and all the D-Day beaches this year, and doing those bigger runs on a bike where you're not using its full, having some headroom is a really nice feeling, and not having to pin it to kind of ride. So I do like having that extra headroom from power perspective.
Mileage you've done on this?
Coming up to 10,000.
And you ride year round.
Yeah.
You're a blood biker.
Yeah.
You've done European trips.
Yeah.
And you ride rain or shine regardless of the weather. This is
Commute
out
to work as
all
well.
the time.
Yeah.
Is there any truth in KTM's perceived lack of reliability?
Not in my experience, but I'm sure there are. Every bike's had problems. I think one of the dangers potentially, especially in forums and what have you, is not many people go to a forum and say, I've owned this bike for 4 years and it's been flawless and I really like it, see you later, have a good day. The person who goes to the forum is the one that said, I've had a problem and I'm upset. So there is probably a little bit of a reputations can build from that perspective, but in my experience to date, it's been flawless. Sorry.
Toys.
We're talking toys and taking up the best view as well. Apologies.
Boys and toys. Yeah. I've got the best side, right? Yeah.
I can see where it's all been spent. I love the Transalp, but it's much simpler, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's much simpler. There's a reason it's cheaper.
And there's a whole school of thinking, and I completely respect and endorse, of simple, less to go wrong, less, there's a reason why you see, itchy boots and people like that going around on the Himalayas and on 250, CRF 250s and what have you, really simple strip back machines, 100% get it. I think we'll talk more about some of why I use different things and why the tech stuff works for me, plus I'm a bit of a tech geek anyway, and I kind of like all that. So
what you've done here is really impressive. I'll show this in a second. This is just brilliant what you've done with this. I'll grab the camera. Let's see what you do for your adventure setup. Danny, where do we start, front to back? Because almost everything can be customizable, including the back box.
Yeah. So that's probably the most contentious bit, because people will go, top box geek or ugly and all the rest of it. Again, I got over being cool a long time. I never was cool, so I don't have to get over being cool. But this works in terms of as an item. So you got within here you can put your gubbins in, but if you need to put a couple of helmets in, then this all extends out, blocks out, and you've got a bigger box. You can not have it on it. So to be honest, I spend most of my time with just this and the tank bag.
And Danny, just show me how much lower that goes. That is slick.
Yeah. So really, works great, and kind of as much capacity as I can throw laptop bags and things in there for work. and plenty of space. And then obviously you can put the panniers on as well for big tours, but I don't tend to do that day to day.
Suspension quickly, electronic.
Yeah, electronic suspension front and back. I have it set, so what I did to get the, there's about 15 seat options on this bike in terms of different heights and depths, and then with heat, without heat, etc., different bits and pieces. So what I've done is I have the electronic suspension set to its automatic low position. So what it does is it senses the weight and the load on the bike, and it sets it as low as it can be with the weight that's on it. And then I've put the higher seat on, so I've put the plus 10mm seat in its high setting. So what that's done is it's given me a bike where I can still put my feet on the ground, but I've got the biggest distance between the peg and the seat, which makes for a really comfortable ride, commuting, everything else, you know, touring, etc.
Yeah.
And again, it's making those little tweaks and all the things that you can do by going into all the suspension
Show
and
us,
everything else.
because this really is nice. Actually, Danny, before you do, let's see this. This is your preferred mode of mini luggage when you're using it day to day. This is equally as slick.
Yeah. So this is an Oxford bag that, you know, it's quick release on here. You've the ring on the tank, on the fuel cap.
And just show where your power source is connected.
So I've got a USB that's inside that little cubby hole.
That's like a car level.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's nice
That's
and slick,
got
isn't
the
it?
USB, just in case people can't see, right in the corner there. You've got the USB attachments. You can probably get a phone in
You
there.
can stick
Certainly.
a normal sort of iPhone, smartphone fits in there.
Certainly passport, keys, stuff like that. If
Yeah,
you're going
stuff that you
into
want quick
Europe.
access to, etc. And then that runs into the back of this, which sort of quick releases on here. There you go. And then in here, that power runs in here. You can have, I have my puncture repair kit. I have a compressor, battery powered compressor, bits and pieces in here, like rubbish. I accumulate a lot of crap from different rides and bits and pieces there. And then in the top bit, you can have your phone, or for example, my mate Glyn always taught me to have your ferry crossing reference code written down, you know, in there, ready.
The essentials.
So you can, all the
essentials.
essential sort of stuff. Which
But
tends
this
to
is
live
standard
up here.
stuff. If you're blood biking, 4 a.m, whatever it is, this will be your exact setup here.
Yeah,
Everything
like
here.
have all that on here, have my phone in there, run the charger, and then.
And show me the screen, because this is a really good looking screen here, and what you've done to it.
So this is my own setup. So you've got the stock. I'll come back to the stock KTM screen, but this is a rugged tablet off Amazon. I can't remember the brand. I'll send you the brand so you can stick it in the comments or whatever. But it's basically a waterproof tablet. In this with this mount, which is mounted on the normal sort of GPS bar.
You've added all this.
Yeah. And then there's a little receiver on the back, which is like a CarPlay or Android Auto receiver, which is wired in. I've got it all here. My next job actually is to 3D print a sort of case for all that bit. And but then what we've made in here is a sort of Android launcher. Or download an Android launcher and branded it all up KTM, so it looks quite stock.
This
then
needs
I
to
can
be
go.
standard on KTMs. This is just brilliant.
And then it runs straight through into CarPlay and what have you. You've got all the functionality that CarPlay gives you. But from a day-to-day sort of commuting perspective, it gives you all sorts of information. From live traffic and the best route, sharpest routes to take when you're commuting, and again, if I'm doing the blood biking, then knowing my accurate ETA when I leave, when I'm going to get to pick-up points, hospitals, etc. You can use Google Maps, you can use Apple Maps. If we're out having fun like we are today, you can use things like XLMOTO.
How do you rate XLMOTO?
I love XLMOTO. I'm fully. If you've got. You Sunday morning, whatever, and you go, I want to go for a ride. I haven't got any purpose, or I just want to go for a ride. Go in there, tell it which direction you want to go, how twisty you want the road to be, and how long do you want to be gone for, and it sends you on roads you'd never find or you'd never know, and it brings you back around. You can customise it on the fly.
Today, XLMOTO.
Yeah, we're out on
Amazing.
XLMOTO today. Yeah,
It's brilliant. And Danny, show me the suspension. So
Yeah.
how simple is it to change suspension?
Get that out of the way a little bit, so you can, if I lift the screen up a little bit, you can see better underneath.
Yeah.
So we've turned the bike on first and foremost.
So first of all, what I noticed, the Transalp's perfectly good display. This is really very slick. This nice one, isn't it?
Yeah. So when you go into the menus, you go down to suspension settings in here. So this has got the Rally Pro, which gives you the Suspension Pro setup on it, so you can do a bit more basically. But you've got modes. So you've got
Danny, just before you carry on, it's so nice having a genuinely good sat nav, and below that, all of your bike modes and stuff. It's really nice.
Yeah, it feels more car-like current car tech kind of, which again, not everyone's cup of tea. And when you just want to ride, that's when I jump on the Royal Enfield or jump on the Bobber or whatever. But this is a working machine which is set up to make working as easy as possible and touring kind of thing. So it's a different kettle of fish altogether. You can either have it in auto mode, which adapts to where you're going, or you can different levels, comfort, etc., off-road, and then in advanced.
I mean, look at what you can do on this fork anti-dive.
You can set whether you have the anti-dive on, which just keeps the front end. How if you want to get really, you can start to go right. I want it to be soft, etc.
And the graphics settings on it is so nice and user-friendly. Let's get back on the road. Carry on, Danny. Thanks.
No worries. Good to see you.
Great to have you back on. Let's carry on. Transalp swapped for Danny's classic 500. Not the most scenic background, but that's because the sun sets in about 15 minutes or so, so this will be the only time I get to show it in the daylight. Also, no quad lock attachment, so I'm going to have to, I guess it's fitting, going to have to do old school navigation, trying to memorize where to go. I think the cabin in Essex is around about half an hour in that direction, but I'm guessing I'll be stopping every 10 minutes or 5 minutes or so to check where to go, because it is in the middle of the countryside. I forgot how much I love this bike. There's something about it. In any modern day terms, this is not a good bike, but nothing touches the character, the charm, the lovability of this bike. It's on a 2021 plate, so it's 3 years old. It is the last of the generation classic 500s. There will never be another bike made like this. It's got the hand-painted pinstripes. I can actually see the paint marks on this. It's such a special thing. I can just imagine them in India painting away these artists doing what they need to do, and there's a very, very slight overpaint on the edge. They just tell a story, these old Royal Enfields. Okay, it's been a little while. Bali was the last time I rode one of these, so get all packed up and hit the road on what should be a very, very enjoyable ride. That was much easier than I thought. I said yesterday that how am I going to be able to find this place in the middle of the countryside?
with no quad lock setup, but it's funny how your mind just recalibrates. I remember 20 years ago, and you'd have to remember the route, so I was thinking in my head, right, A12, come off junction 29, A20 all the way along, and then turn right at the roundabout. I still remember it now. I was just singing that in my head as I was going along the little country lanes on the Classic 500. This is our spot for the weekend. As I said yesterday, it's really a nice celebration for Monika, myself, and Rasa for finishing phase 1 of the tool rolls. So we'll just have a nice weekend here, enjoying ourselves, and it's the most beautiful place to wake up. Those of you who have been watching for about 2 years will remember we did a project with Visit Essex here, and we liked it so much we thought this is just a lovely spot to come and enjoy. And in the depths of winter, you wake up, birds singing all around, hares leaping about the place in the middle of the countryside with a Classic 500 just parked out there. I honestly, I really mean this. I know I over-exaggerate a lot, but I cannot imagine a nicer way to wake up, a nicer place to wake up, more beautiful sound to wake up to. I really hope the microphones pick this up because all around us it's just birds singing. My God, it's annoying. No, I'm joking, it's lovely. I'll do a quick tour. You know, the good weather is just staying. We always head off for the winter, but when it's about 13 degrees, got no need to be anywhere else at all.
Ready.
I mean, we're probably heading off somewhere in 2 weeks, but still. It's lovely. Wood everywhere, polished concrete flooring. It feels so traditional. It's all so well laid out. And Monika, I'm sure, will agree, one of the best places we've ever stayed.
Absolutely.
Lovely snug area there. I mean, this table, it makes no sense at all, but it's so beautiful. 2 bedrooms. Rasa's room, which actually sleeps 4.
Yeah.
With 4 windows in there. Main bedroom. And you can see the Fiat just out there. But maybe more interestingly than the Fiat, there is a jacuzzi. And look at the blue sky. Ah, it's perfect. And then you have a bathroom where there are 2 doors, so you can lock this one off and come through here as well. Everything as simple and elegant as possible. Should we wrap it up there?
Yes.
Well, I'm just excited. We're going to make the most of this weekend. We've got it for 2 days, so thank you so much, everyone. Let's send it out in the balcony. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming along on this little semi-road trip weekend video. Have a brilliant week all. See you in the next one.